What's up, guys? I'm Mike D'Antonio, founder and CEO of StockedUp. Welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. In this episode, we're going to be covering the top things to watch out for in the market this week. We're going to be updating you guys on all the important news that happened over the weekend for the stock market and pretty much just going over what we're watching for the market in the week ahead. So we do have some important information about Trump, about a possible ban on Chinese software companies. We have news with the stimulus, $1,200 checks and things like that. And we also are going to be covering some of the top movers from last week, like Apple, how it was up 10.5% on Friday, and how the market overall is looking right now. So at the end of the video, we're going to be covering all the stocks that we're watching for tomorrow, as well as a $2.3 million call option for this week. So if you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe to see our daily videos on your YouTube homepage every single day. But with that being said, Tom, what happened over the weekend?
Yeah, Trump will announce new action in the coming days related to Chinese software companies that his administration views as a threat to U.S. national security. And Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said that they're expected to ban TikTok in the U.S. Trump talked about this on Friday as well. But something interesting is that Microsoft is actually in talks to acquire TikTok, which is kind of crazy. But the thing is that strategically, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Microsoft. Especially with news of the ban coming around. And I kind of doubt that they will purchase this, especially with, all this bad news coming out. But maybe it'll be something to where like they purchase it so that then they're in control of the U.S. portion of the company or something like that.
True. I mean, if TikTok does like end up like fully getting banned, I doubt Microsoft would buy them. But I guess that's just something we have to keep our eye on. Obviously, TikTok is not publicly traded, so it's not like there's a stock we can watch for this, but it's just kind of some interesting miscellaneous news to watch out for. And then what happened with the stimulus talks?
Yeah, there's still stimulus talks in progress right now. The Democrats still agree on $1,200 checks, but both sides are deadlocked on unemployment assistance. Pelosi and Mnuchin both took to the airways on Sunday morning to lay out their competing visions for the rescue bill. And this is really crazy because Monday they're going to both be meeting. And that's going to be the big thing is Monday morning, it seems like that they're going to meet. And then that's whenever we're going to see the big news come out with the bill. What each side is going to put out, exactly. Right now, they're just both talking about what's going to be in their bill. So they could still obviously edit it before tomorrow morning, which I honestly expect them to do because it seems like they do that all the time. And each side's obviously going to want, their version of the unemployment assistance. Like it was $600 a week, and now it might be like the Republicans. I know they wanted 70% of a weekly check to be paid out, which was 70% of your weekly salary, which isn't too bad either. But I think $600 was more, and I think the Democrats are still wanting to keep it like up around 600 or even more than that.
Yeah, can you pull up Dow futures right now? YM, just want to take a look where they are. What are they sitting at?
Yeah, it looks like they're running down right now, and they're sitting right at around like 26,282.
Gotcha. But back to the stimulus talks. If they keep going back and forth, I feel like that would hurt a lot of Americans. Like I know a lot of people are just getting by right now, and some people they really need this extra $600 a week, and they need all of the help they can get. So I feel like the longer that they go back and forth, it's just gonna hurt a lot of people. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think that they're just gonna go back and forth until that final day, which I mean, I know that the unemployment that expired on July 31st, and now it seems like they're really in a race to get this thing passed. And obviously, I think it's going to get passed this week sometime. I don't know which side is going to end up getting more on this. I don't think the only thing I think that will affect the markets is if it gets very deadlocked and it gets really heated, you'll see a lot of bad news coming out that might affect like the S&P 500 and the Dow. But I still expect the NASDAQ to hold strong on this week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if this stimulus bill does get passed, we will definitely see a lot of, just good signs for the market overall. The new stimulus news like we're talking about, but also the just absolute explosion in the tech sector, like Apple up 10.5% on Friday. Apple, the $1.6 trillion company up 10.5%, or, like that's just crazy. So
Yeah, and that's awesome to see the split. That's awesome to hear for long-term holders as well. This happened in 2014, like we said in Friday's video, I believe. And yeah, Apple is just awesome. It has so much upside potential, especially once the split happens. More people will keep acquiring more shares, and it'll just build back up over the years, back to where it is again.
for sure. And then what companies are reporting earnings this week?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. I'll bring up the picture right now. On Monday, it looks like we're going to have Ferrari, Chegg, Tyson, and the Clorox Company. Those are going to be the biggest ones. And then Tuesday, we're going to have BP, which is a great, awesome oil company. We're going to have Disney reporting earnings. That's a huge one, guys. Lending Tree. Then Wednesday, we're going to have Moderna, which is an awesome stock right now whenever the coronavirus has been going on, ticker mRNA. Square, CVS, Roku, Wayfair, TEVA, Etsy, Zynga. That's all on Wednesday. So it looks like Wednesday is going to be the biggest earning day, and Tuesday as well with, Disney Win. It looks like Activision is also going to be reporting on Tuesday. Once we get later in the week, we're going to have Kronos, Uber, Papa John's. Looks like Penn Gaming International, which is a pretty new stock as well. That one's been kind of flaring up. Cloudflare, which has been good. And then on Friday doesn't look like we have too many big companies, but Noble Energy, I know they're pretty big, and Canadian Solar, they might be big as well. But other than that, it looks like this week is not the biggest earning week. I know last week was better, but there's still a lot of great companies in here like Wynn, Disney, Twilio, Roku, Square. It's going to be a big earnings week again. And I expect a lot of these companies to go to the upside and a lot to go to the downside like we've been seeing. It seems like it's been about a 50-50 split lately.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, we are seeing a lot of splits, but overall, a lot of the tech ones, at least last week, popped. But the week before that, we saw tech stocks fall. So it's really hard to get a good judgment. Like we saw Tesla fall, Netflix fall, but then we saw Apple explode. We saw Facebook explode. Amazon popped good. Google kind of fell a little bit. But overall, what I'm really watching out of all of these stocks for earnings, I'm just looking for ones that will see like a continuation. And the biggest ones I'm eyeing is Beyond Meat on Tuesday after close. Roku's a big one. And then where's the other one I was looking at? Moderna was another one. And then Square. So like those are the top ones I'm looking at. They tend to run after earnings. So those are what I'm watching. And
yeah,
then,
I like all the tech ones like Square, even Moderna, because they're good with the virus right now. Anything tech is gonna be the ones to watch, I think, right now. Other than that, the oil plays could be good too. But with oil, you're gonna really have to watch out, because with oil lately, a lot of those oil companies haven't been doing too well because the price of oil was low during the last quarter a lot of the time.
True. So now for the Discord member of the day. So today's Discord member of the day is SoCal Bangle. So he has been in the group chat or the Discord for some time now. He's always sharing great insight with the market. He's always leaving comments down in the YouTube comments down below, which of course really helps grow the channel. Overall, he's definitely been supporting the group and then also adding a lot of great insight to the Discord chat overall. So thank you, SoCal Bangle, for being a great Stocked Up Discord member. Shout out to you. Thank you for all the insight and everything. So thank you. So now for the momentum plays for tomorrow. And the first one I am watching, and which you could probably already guess, is Apple. So Apple with a 10.5% move to the upside. Tom, what levels should we be watching?
Go ahead and watch for Apple to pop right above $428.
Yep, and then they are at all-time highs, and they have a split coming up soon. So overall, things are looking amazing for Apple. With the next play, I am watching PDD.
With PDD, watch for them to go ahead and pop above 92.75. This is a great play to the upside. Just watch for that. Just really watch for them to break the high of Friday, which is 92.66. But if you want to play it safer, you could watch for them to break 92.75.
Yep, and then we have Moderna, mRNA.
Yep, they have earnings coming up this week as well. I love this move right below this 1,000 SMA. Signals a lot of downwards momentum. Watch for them to go ahead and pop below 73.60.
Yep, so Apple and PDD, we're watching to the upside. Moderna, we're watching to the downside. And with the last play, we have CHWY.
Chewy, watch for them to go ahead and break above 52.60.
Yep, and then this one is also to the upside, so keep that in mind. So with the last, so now with the unusual options activity for tomorrow, and we are looking at the $2.3 million call option for this week. We're looking at the Microsoft 210 strike calls that expire this week, August 7th. So there's about $2.3 million put into this play. And overall, Apple had a huge day on Friday, which I'm sure a lot of you guys already know, but Microsoft and Apple tend to move pretty similar. Like they tend to move in sympathy, but not always. Like, we saw Apple up 10.5% on Friday, but Microsoft was only up 0.5%. So they're not one-to-one correlated. So keep that in mind. But with the tech sector overall moving up, I like Microsoft to the upside. They had good volume on Friday. So it's hard to tell whether they are, for sure longing these options or shorting them. But I definitely have my eye on the Microsoft 210 strike call options that expired this week. Right now, it looks like a good risk-reward scenario, but that can definitely change. Just if a catalyst comes out in the market and actually changes the market overall. Like right now, futures are down 22 points on the Dow, but that really doesn't mean anything. But I'm really just going to be eyeing out the Microsoft play. I'm not just going to jump in blindly at open. If you guys want to check out this play, make sure to definitely have a risk-reward scenario set up, and don't just jump in the play blindly. And then for the YouTube comments from the previous episode. So we have Jason with the first comment saying, Mike and Tom, I love your content and I've recommended you to many of my friends. Question for you. I did puts on Kodak when it was at its highest point. I did the August 21st, $7.50 strike puts. Even though Kodak has dropped big 2 days in a row, my puts keep going down in value. I am down almost 50%. Any idea why this is happening? And do you think I should keep these puts on Monday? Jason. So first of all, thank you so much, Jason, for sharing us with your friends. But now on to your question. So KODK was the stock that absolutely exploded last week, went from about $2 to highs of 60. And now they're making a big reversal. But Jason, you have an amazing question here, and I'm sure a lot of people have the same question. Pretty much you bought puts at a point where the implied volatility was extremely high. The implied volatility was 350%. And right now, pretty much the implied volatility is sitting at about 300%. So implied volatility pretty much just means the price of options. When implied volatility is high, options are expensive. When implied volatility is low, options are cheap. So even though you predicted the direction correctly, you overpaid so much for those options. So, it's hard to say whether you should cut or hold the play, but really anyone who played any options on Kodak after the run-up, whether it was calls or puts, no matter which direction you picked, you probably got burned. And that's just because people paid way too much for the options.
Yeah, and this would be a great scenario to go ahead and short those options.
Yeah, exactly. Like that would have been a prime example to not, buy the options, but actually short them or even trade credit spreads on them. So, can Kodak continue to fall? Probably. But you just paid so much for the options where if I was in your scenario, I would just cut them and just take the lesson and run. But that's just me. With the next comment, we have Florina saying, what do you think about SMLP for the long term? So what do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like it. It's only 80 cents a share right now. I mean, it looks like one that, it could be a gamble that might end up going up, but it's just something I wouldn't get into. It looks like they were, all the way up at around $22 a share. Now they're only 80 cents. And whenever a company falls that much and they're negative in earnings, that's just something you just don't want to see.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the chart. It was at what? What did you say? 24?
20? Yeah, 22 was actually at 26 at one point.
And then Tom, on top of that, in 2014, this stock was at $55.50 per share. So it's on a huge decline. I would never invest in this type of setup for the long term.
Yeah, definitely. Me either. It's just one of those that, if you're going to invest in something for the long term, yeah, personally, I like to look at more value stocks like Coca-Cola and Colgate, maybe Kellogg's and, different companies like that, maybe Lockheed Martin if you wanted to get a little riskier with it. But, a lot of those companies will bring you a lot more value in the long run than these littler companies.
For sure. And then we have John saying, does that cause Apple stock to rise since it's more accessible to people? So John was referring to the Apple 4-for-1 stock split. So, or 1-for-4 stock split. Pretty much by Apple splitting, for every one share you had of Apple, you are going to get 4. So pretty much what that's going to mean is Apple's stock price is going to be divided by 4. So right now it's sitting at about $425. Divide that by 4, it'll be around $106 after the split. And this does it makes Apple stock more accessible to people who have less capital to invest, people with less experience. So yes, to answer your question, yes, you are right. By Apple splitting, it does make the stock more accessible to people. And typically you will see a rise after that. Apple has split a couple times in the past, and the stock has reacted very well. So, it's only logical to think Apple would do the same thing this time around. They're a great company. They have a crazy amount of cash, and they're worth almost $2 trillion. So overall, I mean, they're looking like a great company, especially for the long term.
Yeah, and if people get more stimulus checks and then Apple drops down, somewhere close to $100 a share, I think a lot more people are going to be investing in Apple as well, especially with those stimulus checks.
Right, and then keep in mind, $100 a share is actually going to be $400 a share right now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So everything that's like 400 a share right now will turn into 100 a share on the split date.
Absolutely. So we have Y Modern saying any puts on Boeing. What do you think?
Boeing, let's look at it. Oh, it definitely looks like it's going to go down to the downside. They had terrible earnings. It looks like they dropped a lot on those earnings. It looks like, I remember back whenever the virus was going on, they were at around, $100 a share, which was a great buy on Boeing. I could definitely see them continuing that downfall here. I mean, it's just one of those things. Whenever you see earnings negative $4, that's just insane. People thought the earnings was going to be bad over here, whenever the virus was going on. But man, the second quarter, that was just terrible for Boeing, it looks like. And I think that I could definitely see them continuing a run down. And on a technical level, I would go ahead and watch for them to hit a support maybe of like $120 or $140.
For sure. So with that being said, do you have any, last minute stocks, options, or any insight for the market for this week?
Yeah, one that I'm going to be watching for sure is Pinterest. They are very strong. Another one of those tech stocks that obviously people know Pinterest. They have an app where people can like make different things on there, and you can copy like the little crafts and stuff that they make. But Pinterest is really good, and their stock ran up a lot on earnings, which was great to see. So you could either see for a continuation to the upside, or you could go ahead and watch for Pinterest maybe to fall back down to like $30 levels, because they might have overran on these earnings. So it's just one of those plays that if it does continue to the upside, you could definitely see them continuing up, because they're close to all-time highs right now. And a lot of these tech stocks that are running on earnings end up breaking all-time highs. So I could definitely see Pinterest running above, maybe 36.83 and hitting 37 or $38.
Can you go back on the intraday chart and maybe draw the support and resistance lines for everyone?
Yeah, for sure. I'll go ahead and draw a nice triangle pattern here on this 15-minute chart. This one's a kind of a intraday setup here, but I'll get the drawing tool for the price line set up. And this will be kind of like our top support up here at around $35, $35.50, it looks like. It looks like they're in a nice triangle pattern. And right now they are kind of falling out of it to the downside, which is why I said you might be able to catch, maybe shorting some calls maybe if they do end up falling down. That's kind of a scary thing to see. But whenever you have these earnings busts like this, where the IV down here just goes ahead and drops, you might want to just watch out for those options prices to continue going down whenever this IV just tanks off like this, because that's exactly what happened, is that whenever we lead into earnings, the options pricing is going to go up and get more expensive. And then whenever the earnings come out, just like what happened right here, the implied volatility will drop way down. So no matter if you had calls or puts on this, you probably would have lost. The calls might have won, but the implied volatility dropped so much that you still might have lost, even if you had calls. That it just depends what your calls were priced in at.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the chain right now. At the end of the day, it all comes down to earnings expectations. Pinterest really earnings expectations, so their calls pop. But on certain setups, like what was the other one? It might have been. Oh yeah, it was Netflix. So Netflix, when it dropped on earnings, even people who had puts, they still lost money because Netflix fell within that expectation, you could say. So overall, guys, thank you so much for watching this video to the end. Tom and I really appreciate all of the support you guys give to the channel through the form of hitting that like button, commenting, and subscribing. Thank you guys so much for everyone who hits that like button, comments, and subscribes. It really means a lot to us. If you guys want to see our daily videos on your YouTube homepage every single day, don't forget to subscribe. And then if you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. Other than that, thanks for watching.